So it's 1 week in. Where's the free to play at? Hello, everyone. Bront here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free to pause account. We are here to talk about what happens and what I've done in 1 week's time. It's definitely been an interesting and fun grind. I have taken some strategies that may cost me later. They may not cost me later. We can certainly discuss it. But as you can see, I've actually made it to level 42. So I have just opened the Altar of Souls. Actually opened those souls mostly on stream last night. That was a lot of fun. I have been making my way through some of the challenges and some of the missions. So let's take a look at where I am 1 week later. So first of all, I wanted to grind as many of these Arbiter missions as I could while all the potion keeps were open. Now, technically, they are still open for about another 35 minutes as of filming this, but I don't have a Demon Lord key to hit this one here. I'm not going to buy one for 100 gems. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I would then have to run a bunch of Spider to get this, which I don't have enough time to do. Then I would need to grind a bunch of gold or silver medals in Classic Arena, which I also don't have enough time to do. And then more artifacts here, more stuff here before I get to the next one. And this is Arcane, so I think we're mostly okay. We're doing good. I don't have a third 6-star yet, but that's certainly in the works. Let's go take a look at the roster and talk about where my champs are right now. So I have 6 5-stars right now or better. I've got 2 6-stars and 5 5-stars. So I guess I've got 7. We've got Kale, who's 6-star 60, Monkey, who is 6-star 60. I just 60'd him for one of the missions. We've got Ugo, who is doing well at 50. I actually got a blessing on her. She was actually in the shop, so that was well worth it. And I went with Cruelty. I initially actually thought about going with Phantom Touch for the extra attack that I would get on Fire Knight, and decided Ugo's going to be so useful everywhere else with Cruelty that that's probably the best for the account. Frozen Banshee, I did pull one for her, so I got Phantom Touch on her because that makes the most sense for a rare in general. Boatsmith Flannan is the surprise pick for me. He's been, not too great so far, but I haven't really built him too much and haven't invested in him. I really need to kind of book this down one more to make him super reliable. Although I do have this fully booked, so he's getting this decreased speed out on a 3-turn cooldown. That's good. I really think he's going to be super helpful for me in Fire Knight. Between this decreased speed, even if it is the little decreased speed, that's going to be very helpful. The 2 times attack here that does a chance of stun and a chance of reducing turn meter will be helpful, especially if I can get this booked one more time. And again, he's got an ally attack, so he'll hit with his A1 with this, as well as somebody else will randomly pair up with him as well. So that's at least 2, if not 3 hits on the shield, just from him and somebody else, possibly more depending on the Fire Knight team. And I think that's going to help me quite a bit in Fire Knight, especially considering I've got a very limited champion roster otherwise. Plus, as a defense-based champion and a rare, he's actually kind of tanky. Finally, he does actually get an extra turn if he gets 3 or more people with decreased speed, so this actually makes him really good on the waves as well, so that's great. And again, I went with Phantom Touch with him. I actually just pulled a 3-star soul for him on a single shard, so that gives him a decent chance to, 30% chance of inflicting bonus damage. This counts as an extra hit for breaking the Fire Knight shield. It's a little bit extra damage. The extra defense is going to be nice for him. There's not a lot of great rare blessings, so this made the most sense for me to go with him. So that's what I'm excited for. I also made him a 5-star mostly because there was a mission to ascend a champion to 5 stars, so he made a good example. He also is really the only force champion I'm looking to possibly take to 6 stars that I have on my roster at the moment. I do have a Spider. He's not bad, but given I have Ugo, who's a better decreased defense, even though Spider does the weaken as well, I think I'm going to stick with Ugo because she's just got so much more utility, which means Spider is probably not going to see a lot of immediate use on my account, maybe as a faction war champion a little down the road. So Flannan is good. Right now I have him in the sparring pit to get some levels, particularly because 5-star champions get a little more experience in the sparring pit than 4 stars. We've got Tagore here. I have reworked him a little bit to get a lot more HP on him and get his speed up quite a bit. So right now I've got him at a 190 speed. I also have Ugo at a 190 speed, but Ugo will generally go first because she's got a higher base speed and some extra rounding up to go on. Meanwhile, the Alice build, I'm actually pretty proud of the Alice build, actually. So Alice has been absolutely amazing on this account. In fact, I didn't expect her to be as amazing as she is. Now, she's definitely slow, and I'm certainly working on that, but I got her to 100% crit rate and a decent amount of accuracy because I got a couple of perception pieces I can put on her. I can certainly roll some of these things up. I might hit speed on this piece. I can certainly replace it. If I get something interesting in pinpoint, I can certainly replace one of these pieces as well. Otherwise, we got some crit rate and accuracy. This is actually a pretty good shield. 5-star crit rate gloves with some crit damage, which was actually really nice. And 4-star speed boots, good substats. But if I can get some good 5 stars and at least one hit in crit rate, I'll probably replace them because, again, I could use the extra speed on her. But she has been very, very helpful. Specifically, in Fire Knight, this actually ends up being a 3-hitter almost all the time. And because it's a 3-hitter, because generally he's got one skill, it's got a really long cooldown, and it's always on cooldown, in fact, after the very first turn, she's going to always hit him for 3 hits, which really has been super helpful on the shield. For wave clear, this actually does a decent amount of damage, even as a 5-star. This will usually kill 2 enemies with it. So basically, if it attacks, it does a second attack and will kill somebody else as well. It's usually pretty good. Finally, here, she'll reset her skills if she kills somebody every couple of turns. And what actually happens is she does this, kills a couple people, usually wipes out the wave, goes to the next wave, and then she'll kill them again with this skill. It's actually really, really cool. She's actually a really good for people that are going to be creating new accounts. She can be a good campaign farmer for you. She actually does a really good job with it. I think Alice is a great champion. I think it's going to help a lot of people, but it's really been super helpful for me on this early game account. Again, speed has been super important for me, which is why I'm frustrated that she's only 144. My monkey is, 158. It could be better. I wanted him in the lifesteal gear. I am slowly leaning towards maybe finally pulling him out of this lifesteal gear. This lifesteal gear has been fairly clutch, but now that he's ascended beyond the 3 stars, he does the revive mechanic that he does anyway on a couple of turns. So him dying isn't as big of a deal as it used to be. Plus, as far as things like wave clear, now that I also have Alice and Ugo is built better as well, my Kale can go along and clear the waves with somebody else fairly effectively, and I don't really need to worry about the monkey dying and having to have somebody else stay alive to come back. And I'm not mudding him with food, so that's not been a big deal either. As far as accessories are concerned, I haven't had great accessories. Where I've had some pinpoint stuff. I do have a 3-star banner here in pinpoint, and that's worth more because it's a pinpoint than anything else. I did get some 5-star reaction here, but since I've got 2-piece pinpoint, I don't really want to put that reaction on at the moment. Maybe that's a mistake. Maybe it's not. Ugo's got some pinpoint here, but again, she's got a blood shield ring I could throw on, but this ring isn't that much better than this ring, and this is giving her some extra speed and accuracy, which she desperately needs. That's the other problem I'm having with the monkey, is the monkey has no accuracy, and I need him to have accuracy for some of the potion dungeons. So looking at the dungeons here, I have unlocked the Iron Twins, and I've really only been able to do stage 1, but I have farmed it because souls are going to be such a big deal on this account that I'm going to farm at least stage 1, and I'll push other stages as well. I think I might be able to do better on the magic stage, I might be able to do better on the spirit stage, and I might be able to do better on the void stage as well. Force is going to be my biggest problem on this account because I have so many magic champions. Another reason Bowsmith Flannan could be actually really, really useful. Honestly, he'd probably be good to bring into this in general, just because he would be somebody that is not magic and brings decreased speed, which can actually be very good against the boss as well. So maybe I'll try that next time I get a chance to run some keys. As far as the arcane keeps, most of the keeps I'm around stage 15 on. 15 is not always 100%. Like I got to 14 here, but 14 was not 100%, so I pulled back to 13. Spirit Keep, I got to 14, but 14 is not 100%, so 13 is kind of where I'm farming a little bit. Again, the name of the game is being efficient. 14 here is a little iffy for this. The issue is, in this case, I need Sun Wukong to steal all the buffs, and then the boss is super easy. And if she doesn't steal the buffs, that shield is really hard to get through before I die, just because she does enough damage. So that's where I need some accuracy. And in fact, if you'll notice here, I'm actually using Frozen Banshee in the lead because Frozen Banshee gives me enough accuracy to have a good shot to land this with the monkey. You still get 3%ed. You still possibly have some other issues. So it's not 100%. Sage 13 seems to do a lot better at least, so that's good. Force Keep has actually been amazingly the easiest one to farm, and I'm not quite sure why, other than the boss is fairly straightforward and block buffs and the cleanses can help certainly with this one. So I've been able to farm 15 here very reliably. That wasn't a problem. Void Keep is probably one of the toughest. Void Keep here is got poisons on there, so farming 13 seemed to be about right because 14 was just a little too rough. And as you can see here, I'm 17 minutes before I'm get locked out of most of these things because that's when your 1 week of get access to everything goes away. As far as the dungeons are concerned, I'm up to level 14 in Minotaur. I've tried 15 once or twice, but since I've gotten Monkey to 60 and since I've built the gear up a little bit better on these guys, I think I can probably farm 15 now with that team. And once I get more masteries, it will become easier to continue to farm 15. Until then, 14 is good enough. It's certainly not the best, but it's at least better than lower. Spider, I really haven't pushed up beyond 10, but I've been able to do 10 really consistently with this team. 11 being magic or force is partly part of the reason I haven't pushed better. I certainly wouldn't mind getting to 13, but Spider 10 is generally fairly good early on because you get some good stuff from Spider 10. Fire Knight, I'm actually in the lead on this. This 5-minute team here runs as long as 7 or 8 minutes, is 100%. And it's perfect. Unfortunately, stage 13 is force, so I suspect that's going to start to get a little bit trickier. I know somewhere between 12 and 15, we get a little bit stronger of a shield. So this is where Bowsmith Planet is really going to become clutch. Probably what will happen is I will probably take the monkey out and put Bowsmith in there because the extra hits that I'm going to get from Bowsmith will make up for the fact that I'll lose a little bit of damage from the monkey. And then I will also be able to do some of the wave control with his AoE, and I think that will help me get through the shield. Finally, we've got Dragon. Dragon, I've been able to farm stage 15 and 16. 16 was doable. 15 is safe and 100%, so I'm staying at 15. I certainly wouldn't mind sticking to 16. I think 16 would be a better one to farm, but I'm just not quite there yet with the stats on my team. I probably need at least one more 6-star, and it's probably going to need to be either Ugo or Tagore. I have not pushed into Sand Devil or Phantom Shogun. None of that stuff is going to be super useful for me since I don't have the gear to ascend at the moment. So other than getting free points towards the challenge, it's not worth it. And I'm trying to play this smartly, not for points in the free-to-play challenge. Finally, we have Ice Golem. We haven't mentioned that yet. Ice Golem, stage 13. Nice, 100%, very safe. No, it's not quite 100%. Stage 12 is absolutely 100%. Stage 13 is pretty close to 100%, so I think I've just been farming that, and I think I've died once out of every 15 to 20 runs. Probably not the most efficient, but I'm not living in Ice Golem much either, so I think it shouldn't be a big deal. As far as Doom Tower is concerned, we opened Doom Tower. I actually got stuck on floor 3, actually on floor 4, the first time around, so this floor just really hurt me. It was the Trundas, so basically by the time I got to the Trundas, I didn't have my AoEs, and then Trunda would nuke my team. Alice has played a key role in this. Alice over Frozen Banshee has provided a lot more AoE damage, plus she's provided some lockout. She has been super clutch, plus this aura has actually been really helpful. You might think that maybe I might want Tagore's HP aura to clear through these waves and have me a little bit tankier, but the ability to do 30% more attack damage with 3 nukers built to nuke is really kind of helping me a lot more than I might have thought otherwise. So that's been very, very good. As far as arena is concerned, I am bouncing in between gold 1 and silver 4. In silver 4, I can manage most teams. Like I know, in fact, I can actually kill this team because I killed this guy repeatedly. Put this on auto here just to show you. But yeah, I'm running Monkey King, but I've got my Ugo is one of the fastest. Tagore is pretty close to where my Kale is, so he kind of alternates between whether or not he goes before Kale, but it works well enough either way. Monkey finishes up if there's anybody left alive. Again, might want to work on rebuilding him just a little bit overall, but it's only so much I can do. The problem I have here is now that I'm in Gold 1, these are real teams with 460s, and I cannot really compete with these at the moment. So right now, I don't have any burning needs to do a lot of arena, so I'm going to kind of just milk my coins and make sure I don't keep these maxed. But I'm not going to be striving to continue to push up high. If I find a few teams I can win against, then I may find a few teams I can win against. Like I might actually be able to sneak a win against this team, depending on how well or poorly they're built. Team power does help just a little bit, but you'll see my team power is not particularly high. I just know how to build champions, and that's allowed me to progress particularly far. We've got tag team. Tag team's been going okay. It is certainly still a bit of a struggle because I love the fact that there are people putting in one-man defense teams, but I can't compete with this one-man defense team. A 6-star Vizix, a 6-star Ninja, and a 6-star Elva, they are going to rock my world. This one here, Necmo, I might be able to compete with this team. Necmo, I might be able to out-nuke a Necmo, maybe. It really depends. It depends on how well he's built. UDK is really kind of hit or miss as to whether or not I can beat him or not. Monkey is really kind of my only chance with that. And even then, I need to be able to do a ton of damage and hope that he's slow and not in stone skin, and that's a bit of a problem. So I don't expect to get out of Bronze 1, and if I find myself in danger of moving up to Bronze 2, I will probably not bother doing any tag team until I fall down a little bit. I'm certainly running some pretty weak defenses here. Solo Alice should be pretty easy. Solo Hugh should be pretty easy. Tagore should be pretty easy as well. Honestly, in fact, let's one up this a little bit. Throw you in there as well, and then you know what? Yeah, I'll throw Ugo in there as well. So champions that aren't going to be doing a damage, aren't going to be intimidating a lot of people, and 5-star should be good to keep me inside lower tag team. And so, as I promised, I have slowed down on pulling shards. Actually, I've stopped entirely pulling in shards. So I have another sacred shard from the Arbiter missions. I've got the ancient shards here that I've just kind of accumulated through the shop, through running different dungeons. And, you build up a decent amount of these things if you're just playing the game. So it's not too hard to build up a decent repository of ancient shards. Clan Boss has certainly not been particularly friendly to me as far as the shards are concerned, but I'm not quite there yet where the shards are going to be guaranteed. So that is the eternal struggle. We do have challenges. Those are certainly one of the things, but here I'm finally at the last one of the champions here. I've got to make 6-star champions in magic, spirit, force. I definitely know who my magic, I know who my force is. I do not know who my spirit is at the moment. May end up being a preserver, I think is somebody I flagged down. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really have a lot of good spirit champions that scream make them a 6-star. So maybe I'm going to have to pull. This is going to take a little while anyway, so I don't have to rush this other than I would like that legendary book at some point. Fully ascend a rank 6 champion. That'll happen eventually. Monkey needs basically one more ascension to do it. That shouldn't be too bad. Fully upgrade the champion skills. That's going to happen. Honestly, I'm short rare books right now, amazingly enough. I thought I would have more rare books than I actually have. I want to finish booking Flannan up. That will fix the issue. Ugo is close to being fully booked. Actually, I think Ugo might be fully booked, and Tagore is the one I'm working on right now. And win a campaign battle with 4 champions, a little 60. That'll happen eventually. So this stuff's going to happen eventually. Not too worried about it. Some of these artifact set things, I might see what I can do to get these done, since it is still a free weekend for moving gear around. So I might see if I can get some of these things done, and to be fair, that's extra silver and extra more silver and extra even more silver. So that's good, and if I do it while it's free, I can put the champions back when I'm done. It's actually been really nice to have some of those free weekends, and the fact that we had the free weekend this early into the free-to-play has allowed me to swap some gear around and get some of these things that I might not have done just because it would have been too expensive for silver. We've got the equip 4 champions, so yeah, some of these are going to be problems. I just don't have enough of this gear, and 4 champions with level 12 gear, that's a lot of silver. I don't have a lot of silver. And finally, fully equip a champion with accessories. I just need an amulet for Kale, and I'm done, or an amulet and a ring and a banner for somebody. Alice may be the one where this gets fixed on, because Alice will actually have an opportunity to have a ring, a banner, and an amulet, just given away her permissions go. So that may be the one. Again, this is part 9 of 10. I'd like to finish this soon, but it's a single void shard, and I'm not pulling shards immediately, so I'm not going to rush my way into this one. Dungeons, I'm kind of stuck at Fire Knight 12, so Bowsmith Flannan is probably one of my next priorities to kind of get built, as well as to get another 6-star or two, but another 6-star would be good. Arena here, we're just kind of waiting our way through Gold 1 before we finish some of this stuff too. So win 10 Classic Arenas in Gold 1 or higher in a row. That's going to be difficult until I get better. But, this is stage 3 of 3, so this will happen in time. I'm not too worried about it. 3-level ability bonuses to level 5. I'm certainly working on that. In fact, if we want to take a look at my Great Hall, I have been focusing on this a bit. I've got the attack ones done because those are a mission that you have to do in the challenges. I have the accuracy ones. I've got 3 in the magic, or the spirit, I should say, because my monkey is having some accuracy issues. Then I'm focused on magic, and then I'm focused on force. Once I get these 3 to 5, I'll kind of decide what I want to do from there. Obviously, I need to get one of these to 10 for an Arbiter mission, but I may spend a little bit of time getting some of these up to level 3, especially the crit damage and the defense and the HP, because if I can do it fairly cheaply, it's a bunch of free stats. And while it is a bunch of free points in the HH challenge, the fact that this can be, this is 4% extra attack, 4% extra defense, 4% extra HP, it doesn't sound like a lot, but sometimes that extra 4% can be absolutely huge when you're starting the game out. And finally, here we have the clan boss. Now, I've run my 2 keys on hard because I wanted to hit the hard affinity when it was void, and before it possibly fall to force, because I had an issue before where hard fell to force, and I just did absolutely nothing with my second key. So I was able to 2-key hard. My best key is over 700 million, or 7 million. 700 million would be nice. My best key is over 7 million. The other one was like 6.5. So I guess the other one was 7.5. You can certainly take a look at that. You can see some of these stats on the Hell Hades website, which has got linked down below, if you want to follow some of my progress. But I've actually done pretty well against Clan Boss. And again, Frozen Banshee has been huge. But honestly, Kale with his masteries is just an absolute legend. And the fact that I also have the monkey in the lifesteal gear is keeping him alive and keeping him doing damage. And War Master does an awful lot of work early on in Clan Boss. Do not underestimate how effective War Master is at adding damage to your Clan Boss teams. It was easy in adding a 2 or 3 million damage to my normal team just with Kale. And that's pretty impactful when you're struggling to get to some of these numbers here. I mean, the fact that I can get to 3.6 million and more than half of that was War Master on Kale lets you know how important that mastery is. So again, 1 week in, I am having an awful lot of fun with this count. It has been absolutely amazing to revisit the early game and kind of push to see how far and how fast I can do. Now that I'm no longer laser focused on the missions and I've got 2 6-stars, I can kind of spread my wings just a little bit and focus on general champ improvements. I definitely need to make more 6-stars. Really, the next goal probably is to make a core team of somewhere between 5 to 7 6-stars that I will use in almost every piece of content. And from there, we'll start improving those champions, booking them, and saving up shards for the next fusion event, because we're going to have a fusion end next week, Monday, or actually, I guess it ends technically Thursday. And we're then, probably going to have another fusion in another 2 weeks. So I'm 3 weeks away from the first fusion I really have a legitimate shot of making on this account, and I want to be prepped for it. And that means making sure my account is in the best shape it can possibly be in. So appreciate you guys hanging out. Appreciate you guys rooting me on in this free-to-play challenge. It has been a lot of fun talking with other creators. Look forward to me talking with some other content creators. I've got some content planned with some collabs with a couple of great content creators, ones I've worked with before, ones I have not worked with before. We're going to be talking some free-to-play stuff. We're going to be talking some endgame stuff. I'll be doing some of my general champion guides, builds, and other stuff like that too. So there will be more of that content showing up in the next coming weeks. I've definitely been very focused on the free to play for this first week, but as the account kind of matures a little bit where I don't need to be as laser focused on it, you'll get a lot more. So hit that like button if you want to see the content like this. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content. It really does help support me and my channel. You guys are absolutely amazing. Much love to everyone. And until the next video, I'm Bront CatHerder.